Welcome to the Broken Brain Musical Edition. Luckily, that should be the only part that's musical. You know what? No guarantees in life, am I right? It's your boy Dwight, who is back with you again for another lovely Monday mental health tip. It's tip time here at the Broken Brain. And this is something I've talked about before on different episodes of the program. I don't think I've had a specific tip about it, though. If so, hit me up. Let me know. Criticize and at me, whatever you want to do. Come at me, brah. Today I want to talk about shrinking the goal. This is a technique that I advocate for people and talk about a lot. So shrinking the goal has to do with something that you've been trying to do that you're not doing, which is pretty normal, I think, for those of us that set goals. Here we are right in the time of New Year's resolutions, right around March 17th. Don't you set your New Year's resolutions for St. Patrick's Day? And by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. The most fascinating thing about which I have found that people tell me who are Irish that in Ireland it's not as big a deal as it is in America. That's interesting. I made a role-playing game that you can download at dwighthurst.com/RPG. That's all about leprechauns hiding gold, and you can play them, or you can play townspeople trying to find the gold, and you can go up against each other in a lovely competition for bonding and fun. So to overuse leprechauns when it comes to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, I apologize if that's crummy of me to do. So taking accountability, that's another tip for today. So is there something you want to do that you haven't done yet? I bet there is. And so let's shrink the goal. So if it's not happening, then that tells you one of a couple things. Psychologically, that is, it could be that it is difficult to start. That's not unusual. All things are difficult to start, especially new hobbies or habits or hobbits. Difficult to start. They don't want to leave. They want second breakfast. They don't want adventure. This seems to be particularly true for healthy habits or hobbits that you want to start. And so embracing the idea that it is hard to start, and that is okay, of course, because it's a normal part of humanity. So it kind of has to be okay to some extent, or else we're just rejecting our own humanity or hobbit anime. Okay, no more hobbits. Come on, guys. Let's focus here. It could also mean that the goal is overwhelming, which is a little different than just hard to start. If I have a plan of running a marathon, for example, or stop drinking altogether, or eliminating refined sugars or processed foods or whatever it is, or starting a garden, or moving completely off the grid to a small cabin out in the wilderness, like that movie, The Wilderness Family, or to a lesser extent, The Wilderness Family Part 2. Remember how they had a bear in that movie that was their friend? Anyway, so hit me up, anyone who's seen The Wilderness Family or the sequel. These are big old goals, and they can overwhelm us, but we still want to do them. There is a third possibility that I'm going to mention later. Teaser. So if you're finding, though, that it is hard to start up on a goal or a change that you want to make, here's where we shrink the goal. So we take the goal and we shrink it to baby steps. Now, we may be familiar with this idea of baby steps, right? Well, hopefully, because that's kind of what this tip is. But I call it shrinking the goal for this reason. Take whatever goal, whatever it is that you thought you were going to start doing, shrink it down a bit to something smaller. If you want to run a marathon, okay, yeah, I mean, one way would be, you could change the ultimate goal, run a half marathon or prep for that. Or you can look at what is the day-to-day, for example. This is also good to specifically name what is the first step of that goal. And if I already have done that and I'm not doing it still, if it's like go out and run, then it's like, well, if I shrink the goal a little bit, it could just be go out for a walk. Okay. Now, if that still doesn't work, we tend to get burned out and we kind of give up again, or we feel guilty. This is the key here, trying to defeat the idea that we should feel guilty or shameful. And so shrinking the goal embraces this idea that anything I do towards the goal is better than not doing anything towards the goal. So if I find that I'm not getting out there and running, I might shrink it down and say, I'm just going to go for a walk. Okay. And if that's not working, I might shrink it down and go, I'm just going to walk around the block. Okay. And that's not happening. Maybe I should just go outside at whatever time I'm going to run. Could I just go outside and walk down to the sidewalk and just stand there for a minute? Could I just put on my workout clothes? Could I lay out my running clothes the night before? You see how, shrinking. And there's a couple things about this. One is, like I just said, we might feel like silly, like, well, just walking out of my house, that's nothing, right? But it is something, because technically math is our friend here. Something is more than nothing. So there you go on that. So try to tell yourself that. The other is that shrinking the goal will tell you when you have found the right size. It will automatically, you will know when you found the right size goal because you will do it. You will do it either consistently or you'll basically get started doing it. When you start doing something, you will know that you have the right size of goal. Then you just want to focus on doing it. Now, here's the thing. It both is and isn't a mental trick. On the one hand, it is a mental trick because if you get on your running shoes and you walk down to the sidewalk every morning, you do that enough mornings, you're going to want to walk around a little more. It'll just naturally, we'll probably go into a little bit of a walk, maybe even a little run or sprint or whatever it is that happens. Can you hear me now? Sprint. So whatever it is that you start doing, it will start to add. If you have a goal of eating healthy and all you do is have an apple instead of a donut at the one time of day that you have a donut, then you'll probably want to have some water instead of that soda, or you're going to want to eat a healthy sandwich instead of that entire birthday cake that you have for lunch every day. Or maybe you want to dress more precisely or to a certain aesthetic that you like, that you want to do. And so maybe you started by just kind of folding your clothes better or hanging them up. And so the clothes that you do have seem to be less wrinkled or something like that. But then you naturally are like, I'm going to refresh this shirt or pick up a new thing. And then eventually you're wearing that Pikachu onesie that you want to wear, to work every day. So it is kind of a mental trick because you'll naturally probably start doing more and you will know that it's the right size. The more is the right size because you will be doing it. And this is where it's not a mental trick. The other side of this coin, you have to tell yourself, I succeed if I just had that apple once a day. I already succeeded. I have to look in the mirror or the mirror in my own head and say, I succeeded today. I did my goal. I'm not going to try to trick myself into doing more today, right? This isn't dependent upon me doing more so that I don't have to feel bad about myself or ashamed of myself. And I can just accept that this is what I did and I'm going to do more, at some point, but I don't need to try to pick when. By the way, close quote at some point. You don't have to say all of that to yourself in the mirror, but whatever version of just telling yourself, this is acceptance that allows you to feel good about what you done did instead of what you done didn't did. Now, I'm going to mention real quick that third option, if you are stalled out, and this is a good thing to look at, especially if you've already tried shrinking the goal and you've tried a lot of other things and it just doesn't seem to be happening, okay? The third thing is you need to evaluate, maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe this isn't a goal for me. Or is there a goal that is a different wrinkle on this? And that's a good time to sit down. And I've talked about stratifying goals before and other tips and other episodes, but maybe sit down and kind of ask yourself, what is it I really want from this goal? And is there a different way to get there that I might like better or want to do better? So that is always something, if you keep trying this, and I'm not one of those that says, boy, if you've tried something and you keep trying it and it's not happening, that's the definition of insanity and you shouldn't do it anymore. No, there's lots of healthy things we have to keep trying to do until we do them. However, we can try to mix up how we do them. Okay. Quentin Kemp, who's been on this program as a fitness expert and a therapist, he talked about this idea of being healthy. And he mentioned that he, for one, does not ever go to a gym. Now, he's a fitness, expert in things. So he mountain bikes and he does martial arts because he likes those things and he hates the gym. So if the gym's his goal, he will never go. So trying to mix up the way we're doing something, that's just a simple example of that. So you always want to be conscious of that, because if I'm trying different techniques, like, and nothing's working to get me going, then I have to ask, is this really what I want to do? And if not, why? And if I want to get a certain result, how do I do that? I have a couple of really quick plugs. As always, I want to plug the local charity that we're highlighting this month, which is Bake Their Day. Go to baketheirday.org to learn more about and support this nonprofit bakery located in Guam, where they make birthday cakes that they take to youth in custody who might not otherwise get any kind of celebration or recognition, and it makes them feel a bit more humanized and supported in what their lives, basically, at a time when they could probably use it. The second plug is for Lily Starling and the Voyage of the Salamander, which is a new science fiction novel by Christian Hurst, who, spoiler alert, is my brother. That's not a spoiler alert for the story, unless maybe, I'm not sure. Is that a twist? I'm trying to remember. It's a great science fiction novel, and you should check it out. Tomorrow, there's a brand new episode, full interview. And in fact, it's a two-parter episode. You're going to hear the first part tomorrow and the second part on Friday. My guest is Michael Caven, who is an author, a memoirist. He is putting together a memoir because he has quite a big story to tell. Just to be aware, it does have some specific mentions in part one of sexual abuse that he suffered. And then it also goes into some of the struggles that he had, coming of adulthood in the height of the AIDS crisis, and as a gay man, and the some of the prejudice that he faced, as well as some of the effects of that kind of abuse. And part two focuses more on the successes that he built upon with his own healing and recovery, and the advocacy and help he gave to people with mental health and overcoming abuse, as well as just some pretty amazing things that he did in business and restauranteering. You're going to love it. He's a great, great guy, and I'm looking forward to the time where I have him back and when I can fully read his memoir. You can go to Michael Caven Writer on Facebook and follow him. We'll talk about that on the episode as well. That'll help him to get, the more followers he gets, the more he can get more publishing and greater reach for his stories, which are great. So you're going to really enjoy that. That'll be out tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And then the second part is coming out on Friday. We had such a good long talk that I split it up for y'all. Thanks for listening, and have a great day, and break your brain around something fun and interesting.